I'm here with the Chief of Content of the Bitcoin Association and the CEO of Elas Digital, Brendan Lee. Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Claire.
Could you give us like an overall view of your experience here so far?
Look, my experience here has been fantastic. We've really had the opportunity to interface with people who work at very high levels in the government. And so I've spoken to a congressman, I've spoken to the mayor, I've spoken to an undersecretary of education, and a whole raft of other people who really are movers and shakers and decision makers in what's happening across not just the IT and engineering industry, but many, many industries throughout the Philippines. And so it's been a terrific opportunity to put forward the idea that this is not about creating and selling tokens in a marketplace, but finding ways to improve government services, to reduce the friction that comes from an antiquated sort of paper-based administration system that in use throughout a lot of the Philippines. Really looking at ways to bring them forward as a leader, and they really do want to be a leader. And I think having an event like this and bringing the levels of officials and people that they brought together with the leaders of the industry is going to bring tremendous dividend, especially to the local area, as I think they're really going to be pioneering some of these changes within the Philippines, and I think that will lead to the Philippines becoming a real world leader in this transition that we're all going to go through.
You were speaking with the Undersecretary of the DICT, and tell us a little bit about that conversation.
She had a lot of questions to ask about what is blockchain and how does blockchain work, and so really I was trying to find ways to give her real world examples of the ways that blockchain technology can improve transparency, can improve the speed at which services are delivered. And so the example I actually used was, say, a pothole repair ledger. And so we said, well, in Bataan, we could create a service, a blockchain ledger that is for the administration of the repair of potholes in the roads. And so when citizens are driving around and they see a pothole, they can take a photograph of that pothole. That gets logged. We know where the pothole is, we know when it was seen, and we can then create a job that is then sent out to all of the pothole repair businesses in the area who can bid on the job of repairing that pothole. They can go repair the pothole and then send evidence that it was repaired and a bill and get paid. And it was quite funny. Someone asked at that point, well, how do I invest in that? And where's the token? And I said, well, really there is no token. The investment opportunity is in pothole repair. Start a business fixing potholes and you can use that system to make money. And so then that's a system that benefits everybody who lives in Bataan because the roads improve. They have a way of seeing how the money is being spent within the system. And, I think it's just those kinds of really straightforward examples of ways that this can be used to, really improve the state of things is what's needed.
You went up on stage for a photo op with part of them were part of the DICT group and many others, and they called it the Alliance of Web3 in the Philippines, or pushing for Web3. Could you tell us more about what that was about?
The companies who are local in the Philippines who are participants in that Web3 industry have come together and signed a declaration to work in the best interest of the Philippines. And, I think that's actually a really great document to have because it's really holding them to account that they're going to work in the best interests of the people. It kind of acts as a little bit of a guarantee that potentially their behaviour will become more honest and less of a lot of the kind of scammy stuff that we see happening in the crypto marketplace. So, there's a real opportunity for Bataan to become a leader in the Philippines and a real opportunity for the Philippines to become a leader in the world. And I'm very, very pleased to see this type of document being created and laid down as a sort of a foundation for the local industry who we really do need to step up to make this transition happen.
there's this community building that's happening right now, and moving forward, it looks like it's only going to get bigger and better. And BSV and you being here, how do you feel about that, and what do you see in the future for you guys?
What I would ideally love to see is within 3 to 6 months that we are working with a partner organization here in the Bataan area, and I actually believe we've already identified who that partner might be, to deliver on one of these government service projects that is currently being undertaken in this area, and to bring that government service online with the blockchain. And then the next step will be to promote that outcome, in addition to start bringing more of the projects that they're doing onto the blockchain. And so as we bring more and more of these government services onto the blockchain, each in their own private ledgers, we can get to the point where we can establish a Bataan-wide regional ledger on the blockchain, and all of those services that have been put together can be folded into that ledger. Then as other regions throughout the Philippines see what we're doing and start their own similar projects that can be folded into those regional ledgers in those places, eventually when the national government cottons on that this is a real revolution that's happening and decide to create a Filipino national ledger, all of those regional ledgers can be folded into that. And so what's great about it is it means that everything that we build locally stays local and keeps operating in the same way locally, but it now is tied into the national system. And so any national ID, any national cash, digital central bank currency that gets issued will be usable within all of those systems throughout that national ledger.
Wow, that is a great vision, and looking forward to it. Baby steps.
Baby steps, we can start really small. We can start by fixing potholes, and we can change the future of a nation.
I'm here with Gail Macapagal. She is the founder of the Women in Blockchain in the Philippines, among the many hats that she wears. So, Gail, hi, thanks for speaking to me today.
Hello, Claire.
Tell us what else you do.
So aside from being the founder of Women in Blockchain Philippines, I'm also the country director of DynaQuest. We are a local blockchain services or solutions provider. Our project is the digital identity and digital economy of the indigenous people in the Caraga region. So in the Caraga region, or anywhere else in the Philippines, if you're an indigenous person, you are born without a birth certificate. If you don't have birth certificate, you don't have any rights to vote, to education, to healthcare, and of course also to banking. So you are unbanked and all that. So the pilot is in Caraga region, and then now Bataan expressed that they want to work with us because they have a lot of indigenous people, also the Aitas, and all that good stuff. So the governor and I already spoke. He said that he is very interested in doing that. So aside from that, I'm also part of the 100 most influential Filipino women on LinkedIn for 2021 and 2022. And I'm also the vice president of the Healthcare Information Management Association of the Philippines, or HIMAP.
I want to talk a little bit about women and blockchain. It's quite interesting. You're the founder. What made you want to do something like this?
Because I understand that the women in technology are rare. And when you're in technology, you're a special gem that needs to be cultivated. You need people to motivate you, you need people to talk to, and you need women to collaborate with. And so I started thinking, why not put up Women in Blockchain Philippines, invite all the story is that in 2019, I could barely come up with 10 women. This is the original batch of the Women in Blockchain Philippines in 2019. And then in 2020, we only had 6. But now, I think I can come up with 100 women. So I'm planning to write a book in coordination with the ICT, the Gender and Development Group also, to come up with a book for 100 women in tech. Because we're targeting 2 things, women empowerment and women in tech. Because as we all know, there are a very few of us in tech. So it's still in the works, we're still planning about it, but we're going to make sure that it happens.
What's your impression about how things are playing out or unfolding in terms of people getting to know more about blockchain?
The youth are the ones that started or that they became interested in it. And I'm very happy that now we can fill a very big events place. I'm thinking that this is a positive step towards mass adoption. Of course, we're still behind in terms of education and talent development, but these are things that will be worked on. There will be a signing of a Web 3.0 alliance of members who promised to come up with an association. There will be a small percentage of us at first, and then we will be inviting other companies to join us so that we are in alignment with all our events, with all our plans, for regulation, for BSP. Everything should be aligned because this is our industry. It's very small. We are siloed. It's very difficult. The ICT also promised they want us to come up with a list of activities for the next 5 years so that they can support. Not just financially, but also in a lot of aspects. Of course, if you have government entities coming in or are present, it's going to play a big role in the mass adoption that we want to happen.
What do you think about BSV blockchain? Have you learned anything so far?
Okay, so I was fortunate to be in the table with Stefan at that time. He has a lot of interesting things to share. But of course, apart from that, I believe what BSV blockchain is doing is going to help, especially with the government. And especially with the things that we want to happen in the near future.
Thank you so much, Gail, for speaking to us today. I'm here with Emmanuel Samson. He's the CEO of Impero. I know Impero has partnered with the authority of the Freeport of Bataan to develop your offshore blockchain fintech solutions unit. Can you talk about your joint initiatives and the outcome of these so far?
The joint unit is more of a real collaboration. In a sense, we want to build the blockchain community collectively. So our first step is really to teach the AFAB as the entry point to the rest of the government, Philippines, now that we've been introduced to Bataan, the governor, the mayor, the congressman, for them to know not to be afraid of blockchain. Because blockchain is happening already, with or without the governments. So part of the collaboration efforts or the joint effort is really to let the world know that Philippines is a blockchain-friendly country. And to start out with the economic zone, because in their law, as everyone's proclaiming, the RA 11453, it allows offshore business activities, meaning companies can now go into an ecosystem, a sandbox, if you will, that allows the true essence of blockchain, true decentralized system. You know, there's so many buzzwords happening, but at the end of the day, it's about community, right? And community means how do we work together to really promote mass adoption? AFAB really embracing it and saying, you know what, how do we do it, right? I said, well, we can't have all the answers. The good news is it's still in its infancy, so it's a growing community. And because Impero, our main mandate, we're a consortium, and we're looking for people to help us and companies to help us. We can't do it on our own, even though we have a great team, a small team, but it's really about mass adoption and how to monetize it, so it's really win-win for the government and for the operators, and obviously for the ecosystem. So they have somewhere to go to. The objective is really look for partners, and I say this maybe loosely, with sincere objectives. It's about real use cases.
Let's talk about a bit more about the compliances and the rules and regulations. And so what do you think makes Bataan or even the Philippines like an attractive place to invest?
Bataan is specifically AFAB, which is the Special Economic Zone, which is the first economic zone in the Philippines. What makes it different is really the law enabling ecosystem, right? But sometimes the policies change, right? So if you have a blockchain company, right now the main product in blockchain is crypto. You have a crypto company, perhaps a blockchain protocol, and you want to follow a certain legally mandate or regulatory framework, if you will, and then within a policy, but then it changes overnight. It's not good for the ecosystem, right? Because, you know, blockchain is happening already. So it's a way of really positioning the governments and how they want to participate, right? It's not gone to the days of, as you know, blockchain is decentralized. Gone to the days of a central authority or a central database. One body will control certain aspects of it, right? In the Freeport, they understand that there's certain nuances and subtleties in blockchain. So they want to make three things possible. Number one, they want to let the world know that, hey, we will monitor and do their best and to audit the bad actors. Right? There's certain processes in place. We're working with third party to do their due diligence before license is issued. Right? Very important. So number one, monitoring and auditing. And number two, the ease of doing business within the economic zone. So they're welcoming the potential licensees and say, listen, we want to work with you. We don't know everything, but when you join our community, we can build around it, right? So the ease of doing business. And then number two is an enabling environment, right? So really enable them, right? This is what you do, show it to the world. Of course, there's, again, as long as you pass the compliance, due diligence, compliance meaning you have to show you've got policies in place. Because based in the law and in the internal rules and regulations, you have to follow. Like, do you have the AMLA policies? Do you have the certain CFT or counter finance? So you have to follow those. You have to show the AFAB board before they issue the license that you're following these policies. So with AFAB, they have these things in place already. You know, 2019, when it was actually enacted into law, we just lost momentum because of the, as we know, Mr. Pandemic said, world stopped for a couple of years. So this gives us a chance to help really promote and endorse what AFAB is doing from a private point of view.
How are these initiatives going to add value to the country?
Number one, of course, with AFAB is all about economic growth. And the focus, as alluded by Honorable Governor Joet Garcia, was, let's follow the digitization of the Philippines. And what does that mean? He wants to uplift the digital economy. So any business activities that's happening in the AFAB, where they're now accessing this ecosystem from the offshore digital asset license, that's where it adds value, right? So the companies that are applying for these licenses, they can focus on their business model, they can focus on their objectives, and they can focus on really how to serve the customers. In the background, AFAB says, come here, we'll do the other part. We'll help you with protecting you from the law, meaning we have this law. We'll help you with hopefully finding bad actors. That's really part of the objectives. They're not the end-all and be-all, but at least there's something there to start.
Thank you so much.
Our historic records are part of the fabric of humanity and an instrumental element of stable society. Information accessibility is a key driver of human wealth and prosperity, and the BSV blockchain represents a great leap forward in how that information is recorded, managed, and shared. With Elas, create private permissioned ledgers for your information. Modular, scalable technology for the next information age. Elas. Gallop ahead.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.